Smile pal, hope you're all okay. Today I'm going to show you how to make this cute yet slightly creepy pin cushion. For your voodoo doll you'll need something to mark your felt. This is an air erasable pen and a pair of fabric scissors. You'll need a template. I just drew this myself and cut it out of a cereal box. You'll also need some felt, one colour for the body and one colour for any accent pieces you want to do. You're going to start by laying out your template onto the felt you're going to use for your body. And then you're going to draw around it using whatever marker you have. I would suggest investing in either some dressmaker's chalk or an air soluble pen like I'm using here. Once you have one piece drawn, you want to flip over your template so they will match up when you're sewing, and then start tracing around that as well. Once you have your body cut out, you will want also an accent piece. I just have a red heart cut out of some felt. You'll need some buttons, 2 different buttons preferably, some thread. I like to use one of the same colour as my body and then a contrasting one. You'll also need a needle, and I like to have a small pair of scissors as well. To start off your voodoo doll, I'd suggest placing and sewing in your eyes. I like to use 2 odd buttons here just to give it a more quirky look, and then I am just sewing it on with very basic stitches. Once you have your eyes sewn in place, you want to sew on a mouth. Here I'm just going to sew a very simple stitch to create the mouth. I'm just going to have it in the cartoony stitch effect as well. Now that I have the length of my mouth that I want, I'm going to create the cartoony stitches through his lips. And it can be a little tricky sometimes for getting it through the same hole again. But just keep persevering and you'll get it right sooner or later. Once you've finished with his mouth, you should be left with a little voodoo doll that looks something like this. So here I'm just stitching on the applique hearts. I wanted the stitches to be really obvious to make it like cartoony and voodoo, if you will. So to get this effect, you just need to use a darker thread to give a good contrast, and then do a variety of different small and larger stitches, as well as throw in the odd cross stitch as well. By now you should be left with this charming looking fellow. What I find easiest to do is just to flip him over and then line up the actual back piece. I like to make sure I don't need to trim anything, and then I will sew around the outside using a blanket stitch, and I like to use a matching thread for this. So here I have what I'm going to be using as stuffing, and it's actually the inside of an old pillow that my cat had a little bit too much fun with. As you can see, I have stitched up the top half of my little voodoo doll, so from armpit to armpit, and then I'm going to shred up this stuffing like so, and I'm going to slowly stuff him. I find it easiest to do this in parts, so I will do this top half of him first, get all of that nice and stuffed, then I'll do one leg and then stuff, and then sew up the last leg, leaving a little hole to fill with stuff in before closing him all up. Once you've stuffed and sewn all round, you will have something that looks like this, very squidgy, and obviously you can use this technique to make toys with, but since he is a pin cushion, my poor little VooDoo doll is getting some rough treatment, as you can see. But I hope you give it a go. It is time consuming, I won't lie, but I think the effect is great. I think it's really fun, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye!